My kid's dad spends more in our marriage. Those were her words. Girl, I'm serious. Derek used to take me to five-star restaurants, buy me jewelry, make me feel like a queen. Raphael? He just pays bills and acts like I should worship him for it. Where's the romance? Where's the passion? I stood frozen in the doorway of our bedroom, grocery bag still in my hands. The organic food she'd texted me to pick up, the expensive snacks for the kids, the wine she liked. My wife Marta's voice drifted through the cracked door, loud and careless on speakerphone with her sister. Honestly, Derek spent more money on meaningful things than Raphael does. At least Derek knew how to make a woman feel special, not just provided for like some kind of employee. My name is Raphael George. I'm 34 years old, a civil engineer, and until that moment, I thought I was building a life with the woman I loved. I met Marta 3 years ago when she was struggling as a single mother to 2 kids, Jordan, 8, and Amira, 10. Their father, Derek Collins, had vanished when Marta was pregnant with Jordan, leaving her with nothing but broken promises and minimal child support payments that came whenever he felt generous. I fell in love with all 3 of them. I paid for their private school tuition, their soccer leagues, their music lessons. I bought us a house with enough bedrooms for everyone. I treated those kids like they were mine, because in my heart, they were, and this whole time, she'd been comparing me to a man who abandoned her. I set the groceries down silently and pulled out my phone, hitting record. My hands trembled as I captured her words, each one a knife sliding between my ribs. When the call ended, I didn't go inside. I walked to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and replayed the recording 3 times. Then I opened my banking app and stared at the screen. Joint accounts, shared credit cards, a mortgage I'd been paying alone. My finger hovered over the close account button, but I didn't press it. Not yet. First, I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with. I needed to see if this was a moment of frustration, or if this was who she really was. I went back inside like nothing happened, unpacked the groceries, and waited. Dinner that night felt like sitting in a room with a stranger. The kids ate their expensive takeout, $47 for Chinese food, while Marta scrolled through her phone, oblivious. I watched her laugh at something on Instagram, probably one of Derek's old photos she still kept in her highlights. She'd never deleted them. I grew up in a trailer park in rural Georgia where my father drank away every paycheck, and my mother worked 3 jobs just to keep us fed. I remember being 10 years old, stealing bread from the school cafeteria to bring home to my little sister. I remember my mother crying because the electricity got cut off again. I made a promise to myself back then. When I grew up, no one I loved would ever go without. That promise drove me through college on scholarships, through engineering school while working 2 jobs, through every promotion I earned. When I met Marta struggling alone with 2 kids, I saw my chance to be the man I needed as a child. Marta, can I ask you something? My voice came out calmer than I felt. She looked up distracted. When Derek was in your life, how much did he spend on the kids per year? Roughly. Her eyes narrowed with confusion. Why are you asking that? Just curious. I'm trying to understand what meaningful spending looks like. She shifted uncomfortably. I don't know, maybe a few thousand? He bought gifts. Took us out sometimes. A few thousand. I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table. The spreadsheet I'd been keeping, not out of resentment, but because I like being organized, showed everything in stark detail. I've spent $186,000 in 3 years. That's $62,000 per year on a family that isn't biologically mine. The color drained from her face. And Derek, where's he now? Raphael, I didn't mean. I know exactly what you meant. I heard you. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I heard every word you said to your sister this afternoon. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister lit up the screen. Did you really say that about Raphael? Girl, you better apologize. I walked out of the room without another word. Behind me, I heard her chair scrape, heard her footsteps following, but I went into our bedroom and locked the door. She knocked, called my name, begged me to talk to her. I pulled out a suitcase and started packing. Attorney Janet Briggs had silver hair, sharp eyes, and a reputation for winning ugly divorces. She sat across from me in her downtown office, reviewing the documents I brought. Bank statements, receipts, the recording, text messages where Marta asked me to pay for things while Derek's child support sat untouched in a separate account she'd never disclosed. "Let me make sure I understand," Janet said, leaning back in her leather chair. "You've been paying for her children's private school, their activities, the mortgage on a house in both your names, her car, her credit cards, and you even covered the debts from her failed boutique business. For 3 years." "Yes." "And you never legally adopted the children?" I paused, remembering the conversation. Marta had said Derek would never agree to it, that it would complicate things, that it was better to just let things be. I hadn't pushed because I didn't want to make waves. "No," she said, "it would be too difficult." Janet actually smiled, a rare expression on her usually stoic face. "Raphael, you just saved yourself from a legal nightmare. Without adoption, those children aren't your financial responsibility. You have no legal obligation to them." The relief hit me like a wave, immediately followed by guilt. I love Jordan and Amira. This wasn't about them. "In this state, you can walk away clean," Janet continued. "No child support. No custody battle. And since you can prove with documentation that you've been the sole financial provider, she can't claim abandonment or ask for alimony. She was entirely dependent on your goodwill, not your legal obligation." "What about the house? You've been paying the mortgage alone?" When I nodded, she leaned forward. "Stop paying it immediately. Let her figure it out. The house is in both names. But if she can't make the payments, that's not your problem anymore. Document everything, every text, every call, every expense. Say that recording in 3 different places." I left her office with a folder full of papers to sign and a strange emptiness in my chest. My phone buzzed. "Marta, we need to talk. I'm sorry. Please come home." I deleted the message without responding. I spent the next 2 weeks moving like a ghost through my own life. I opened a new bank account at a different institution and had my paycheck redirected. I canceled the joint credit cards where I was the primary holder. I called the mortgage company and told them I would no longer be making payments. The house was Marta's problem now. I rented a modest 1-bedroom apartment across town, something temporary until I figured out my next move. Marta thought I was working late. She had no idea I was systematically dismantling our shared life. On a Tuesday morning, I woke up at 5, packed the last of my belongings while she slept, and left a handwritten note on the kitchen counter. My coffee mug, the one that said "World's Best Dad" that Jordan had given me last Father's Day, stayed in the cabinet. I couldn't take it. It would hurt too much. The note was simple. "Marta, you said Derek spent more on meaningful things. I've spent 3 years trying to be meaningful to you, but I've realized I was never the man you wanted. I was just the man who paid the bills. You'll be served divorce papers this week. The house, the cars, the kids' school, it's all yours now. I'm sure Derek will step up. I wish you nothing but clarity. Raphael." I drove away as the sun rose, watching our house disappear in my rearview mirror. My phone started ringing 10 minutes later. Then the texts started flooding in. I blocked her number and kept driving. At a red light, I allowed myself one moment of weakness. I looked at a photo on my phone. Me and the kids at the beach last summer, all of us covered in sand and smiling. Amira had her arms around my neck. Jordan was on my shoulders. Marta had taken the picture, laughing at how ridiculous we looked. I thought we were happy. Maybe I was the only one who was. The light turned green, and I drove toward my new apartment, toward whatever came next, toward a life where I finally chose myself. Marta called Derek on a Thursday afternoon, 3 weeks after I left. I know this because Derek, in his infinite stupidity, posted about it on social media later. My friend Terrence screenshotted everything and sent it to me. She was desperate by then. The private school had called twice about unpaid tuition. The mortgage company had sent a warning letter. Her credit cards were maxed out from the lifestyle she'd maintained, assuming I'd always be there to clean up the mess. Derek answered on the 3rd ring. She could hear the smirk in his voice. Well, Marta, it's been a minute." "Derek, I need your help. Raphael left, and I can't afford the kids' school, the mortgage. He laughed. Actually laughed. Wait. You mean your rich engineer husband bailed? The guy you left me for because he had a stable job and could provide. Derek, this isn't funny. Your kids need. My kids. His voice turned cold, sharp. Marta, you made it real clear 3 years ago that I wasn't good enough. You got yourself a sugar daddy, and now you're mad he stopped giving you sugar? That's hilarious. Derek, please. They're your children. They need their father. Nah, you wanted Raphael to be their daddy. You got what you wanted. Now you figure it out. I got my own life now. New girl. No baggage, no drama. Don't call me again. The line went dead. Marta stared at her phone in disbelief. The man she'd spent years romanticizing, the passionate one who took her to fancy restaurants, had just confirmed what I'd known all along. He never cared. Those restaurants? She found out later he'd dined and dashed on half of them. The jewelry? Fake. The grand gestures? Always followed by weeks of disappearing. She confused manipulation and love bombing with romance. And now she was paying the price. There was a knock at the door. A process server handed her an envelope. Inside were divorce papers. The first line read, Petitioner seeks full separation of assets and no financial responsibility for non-biological children. Marta decided to play victim. She invited her family over for dinner. Her mother, her sister, her 2 cousins, and painted herself as the wronged wife. She cried on cue, talked about how I'd abandoned her and the kids without warning, how after everything she'd done for me, I just vanished like I never loved them. Her mother held her hand. Her sister hugged her. Men aren't loyal anymore, someone said. You deserve better, Marta. Then the doorbell rang. Terrence walked in uninvited, his jaw set, his phone in his hand. Terrence had been my best friend since college, my groomsman, my brother in everything but blood. When I told him what happened, he'd been furious. Not just at Marta, but at the thought of her rewriting history. Marta, I need to play something for everyone here. Terrence, this isn't the time. Oh, it's exactly the time. He pressed play, and Marta's voice filled the room. Derek used to take me to 5-star restaurants, buy me jewelry, make me feel like a queen. Raphael just pays bills. Derek spent more on meaningful things. The room went silent. You could hear breathing, nothing else. Marta's mother's expression hardened into something I'd never seen before, disgust. Raphael spent $186,000 in 3 years on your kids, your house, your life. Terrence said, his voice steady but lethal. And you compared him to a deadbeat who pays $200 a month in child support when he feels like it. Y'all can believe her sob story if you want, or you can believe the facts. He recorded everything, every receipt, every bank transfer, every lie she told tonight. He walked out without another word. The family sat in stunned silence, all eyes on Marta. Her sister stood up slowly. Marta, is this true? I didn't mean it like that. Her mother interrupted, her voice quiet but cutting. You destroyed a good man. One by one, they left. Marta sat alone at the table, surrounded by the food I would have paid for, in the house I'd helped buy, realizing that the truth had finally caught up with her. 6 months disappeared like water through fingers. I threw myself into work, got promoted to senior project manager, moved into a beautiful 2-bedroom condo with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the city. I started going to the gym again, something I'd stopped doing, because Marta said it took time away from the family. I reconnected with old friends, traveled to conferences, lived, and I met Simone. Dr. Simone Harper walked into a charity event for animal shelters wearing a navy dress and a smile that made me forget I was supposed to be guarded. She was a veterinarian, confident and warm, with no idea who I was or what I'd been through. We talked for 2 hours about everything except my past. When she asked for my number, I gave it without hesitation. Our first date was coffee. Simple. Easy. She told me about growing up in a family of doctors, about choosing animals over humans because they were honest. They don't pretend to love you when they don't, she said. They're just themselves. I found myself opening up telling her about the divorce without naming Marta, about feeling like I'd given everything and gotten nothing. Simone listened without judgment, then said something that cracked me open. It sounds like you gave everything and got taken for granted. That's not on you. That's on her. The question is, do you believe you did enough? I realized I didn't. I've been carrying guilt, wondering if I should have tried harder, spent more, been more exciting. Raphael, she said gently, you raised kids that weren't yours. You paid for a life that wasn't yours to fund. You stayed loyal to someone who didn't appreciate you. You did more than enough. You did everything. For the first time in months, I smiled genuinely. Marta found out through Instagram. I'd unblocked her, not out of kindness, but because I had nothing left to hide. My profile showed the life I was building: rooftop dinners, beach vacations, work promotions, and yes, photos with Simone. Beautiful, accomplished, grateful Simone. Marta sent a DM. Raphael, can we please talk? I made a mistake. It didn't deliver. I blocked her again right after posting. She could look, but she couldn't reach me. That was the point. Marta showed up at my apartment at 10 at night. I don't know how she found the address. Maybe she'd hired someone. Maybe she'd followed me. It didn't matter. When I opened the door, Simone was right behind me, barefoot, wearing one of my shirts, clearly comfortable in a space that would never be Marta's again. Raphael, can we please talk? Alone. Marta's voice cracked, her eyes desperate. No, I said calmly. Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of Simone. She knows everything. I made a mistake. I didn't mean what I said. I was stupid. The kids miss you. I miss you. Please. Simone stepped forward, not aggressive, just present. Marta, I'm going to say something, and I need you to really hear it. Raphael gave you 3 years of his life. He loved your kids like his own. He paid for everything. And you compared him to a man who abandoned you. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, because I would never treat him the way you did. And that's why I'm standing here and you're standing there. I looked at Marta, really looked at her, and felt nothing but sadness. Not for me, but for her. I wish you the best, Marta. But we're done. Permanently. I closed the door gently. Through it, I could hear her sobbing in the hallway. Simone took my hand, squeezed it, and we went back to the couch where we'd been watching a movie. Life continued. Easy. Peaceful. Right. Marta's phone buzzed as she walked back to her car. Overdraft alert. Your account balance is minus $347. Derek's new girlfriend Shanice got pregnant 6 months after he mocked Marta. Then she disappeared. Changed her number, moved apartments, blocked him on everything. When he finally tracked her down through a mutual friend, she sent him a single text. I can't do this family shit. Figure out yourself. Don't call me again. His own words, thrown back like stones. For the first time in his life, Derek understood what he'd put Marta through. He tried to call her, desperate for sympathy, for someone who would understand. She answered, and he started his rehearsed apology. Marta, I get it now. I was wrong. I'm sorry for everything. There was a long pause. Then, it's 10 years too late, Derek. And honestly, I don't care anymore. Raphael showed me what a real man looks like. You were just practice. She hung up. Derek stared at his phone, stunned. The woman who'd once begged him to stay, who'd cried over him for years, who'd romanticized their relationship even after he abandoned her. She didn't need his validation anymore. That realization terrified him more than Shanice leaving ever could. The package arrived at my office on a Wednesday. Inside were 2 handwritten letters on lined notebook paper, the kind kids use in school. Jordan's handwriting was messy, letters slanting in different directions. Dear Raphael, I miss you. I know you and Mom aren't together anymore, but you're still my dad in my heart. I'm sorry if we did something wrong. Can you please come back? Love, Jordan. Amira's was neater, more controlled, but the pain bled through every word. Raphael, I don't blame you for leaving. Mom messed up. I heard her say mean things about you, and it made me mad. You were the best dad we ever had. I hope you're happy now. I love you. Amira, I sat at my desk and cried for 20 minutes. These kids hadn't done anything wrong. They were innocent casualties in an adult war they didn't start. But going back wouldn't fix anything. Marta hadn't changed. She was just desperate. And those kids deserve better than watching adults repeat the same toxic patterns. I wrote back, carefully, lovingly, Jordan and Amira, I love you both so much. You did nothing wrong. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, and sometimes people grow apart. That's not your fault. I'm always here for you. Not as someone living in your house, but as someone who will always care about you. You can call me, text me, or visit me anytime. But I can't come back to your mom. I hope you understand one day. Love, Raphael. I sent it directly to them, not through Marta. When they showed her the letter, she realized even her own children saw the truth. She destroyed something good. Marta took a job as a cashier at the grocery store, where she used to shop with my money. Minimum wage, evening shifts, standing for 8 hours scanning items she could no longer afford. Her feet ached. Her pride was shattered. But the bills kept coming, and child support from Derek remained a fantasy. One evening, she looked up from the register and froze. Simone and I stood in line, laughing about something, a basket full of organic vegetables, expensive wine, steaks, the exact things Marta used to buy without checking prices. Simone didn't recognize her at first, but I did. My smile faded slightly, not from anger, just acknowledgement. I nodded. Simone placed items on the counter, still talking. Babe, we should invite Amira and Jordan over for dinner again. They love the pasta you made. Yeah, I said softly. They're great kids. Marta's hands shook as she scanned each item. The total, $287. More than her weekly paycheck. Simone finally noticed a name tag. Marta? She nodded, unable to speak. Simone's expression softened, not with pity, but with something worse, understanding. I hope things get better for you. We left. Marta watched through the window as I loaded groceries into my car, as Simone kissed my cheek, as we drove away toward a life she'd thrown away with careless words. Her manager yelled at her for being too slow. She cried in the break room during her 15-minute break, mascara running, wondering how she'd ended up here. 2 years later, I was at the park with Simone and our daughter Naomi, 6 months old, sleeping in her stroller. Jordan and Amira were visiting. I'd kept my promise, staying in their lives, meeting them at parks and restaurants, being present without enabling their mother. They were on the swings, laughing, older now but still the kids I loved. Marta walked to the park after a shift, exhausted, and stopped when she saw us. She approached slowly, hesitantly. Raphael? I turned. No anger in my chest. No bitterness. Just peace. Hey, Marta. Your daughter is beautiful. Congratulations. Thank you. She hesitated, then asked a question I knew was coming. Do you ever think about what could have been? With us. I looked at Simone holding Naomi, at Jordan and Amira laughing on the swings, at the life I'd built from the ashes of what she'd burned. Then I looked back at Marta. No, I said honestly, calmly. I don't think about you anymore. It wasn't cruel. It was just true. Her eyes filled with tears. That was the moment she understood. Revenge wasn't me hurting her. It was me healing without her. I hope you find peace, Marta. I really do, but that's not my job anymore. I turned back to my family. Simone kissed my cheek. The kids ran over, hugging me. Marta walked away alone, finally understanding the price of taking someone for granted. Revenge wasn't about destroying her. It was about choosing myself and building a life so good she realized what she lost. And by then, I'd already moved on.